Europe can boast numerous postcard settings for its major racing circuits, but none more impressive than Belgium's Spa-Francorchamps course. Located 120 kilometres southeast of Brussels in the Ardennes forest, Spa is the traditional home of the Belgian Formula One Grand Prix and touring car racing's most arduous contest, the 24-hour day-night enduro. The circuit once measured over 14 kilometres, but was changed back in '83 to this shortened layout of 6.94 k's, which still combines the high-speed straights, sweeping turns and hairpin corners, qualifying as one of the world's most challenging circuits. The 24 Hours of Spa is the manufacturer's blue ribbon race. It's also round 8 of the European Touring Car Championship, a title which began back at Monza, Italy in March and marked the arrival in Europe of the Australian Commodore. Local stars Peter Brock, Alan Moffat, Alan Grice and Graham Bailey were the flavours of the month. Grice led the opener before encountering problems, and at checkered flag time the old firm of Tom Walkinshaw and Wyn Percy were in victory lane. Round 2 was in the snow and sleet at Donington Park, England. The Commodores were back, Grice in his underfunded white V8 and Brock in the mobile Holden dealer team entry. Both led the event before trouble set in. Yet again, the Rovers drovers, Walkinshaw and Percy, showed the field no mercy. Round 3 was at Hockenheim, Germany, where the Volvos were keen to stage a fight back. So too was Alan Grice, who charged to the front and resisted every passing attempt until taken out of the field of play by an errant Golf. Hello and welcome to the Spa-Francorchamps course here in Belgium, the scene for the 24-hour enduro for touring cars. And what a race it promises to be. This year's race holds special interest because of the strong Australasian presence. Peter Brock and Alan Moffat will lead the mobile dealer team with 2 cars, and they'll be joined in Belgium by John Harvey and Neil Lowe. Alan Grice, the barnstorming Sydney privateer, is also a guaranteed starter, while the 2 South Pacific Rovers will be handled by Sydney's Ron Dixon and Kiwis Denny Hulme and Neville Crichton. I guess the big news from last night surrounds Sydney driver Alan Grice. We've always known that Gricey is a charger, and he was back there around about 12th or 13th on the grid. Everyone had put their race setup in for today's race. Grice put his race setup in and went quicker.
Yes, we were the quickest last night, in the middle of the night. We put our race engine in, and all along we've been saying that that's our strongest engine, and we haven't been practicing on it because we obviously wanted to keep it for 24 hours. So I put a set of tyres on it and did 1 quick lap last night, which moved us up about 5 spots and put us our customary position as in front of all the rest of the works cars.
Cars moving in now for the start of the Spa 24-hour Classic from Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. And it'll be Tom Walkinshaw in car number 8 and Pirro in the BMW to split the front row. There's the tail of the field coming through and the lights turn to green. Walkinshaw on the inside of the Bastos Rover. Pirro moving to the outside and Granberg making a good start as well. Here's Pirro moving down and a touch of guards here as they head into Eau Rouge for the first time. It'll be Walkinshaw's corner. He'll lead the BMW. Moving up very quickly behind them, Granberg, Olofsson in the second of the Volvos, and they swing along towards the straight. Pirro sitting right in behind Tom Walkinshaw at this stage, and Armand Hanna making a great start as up to 3rd. Peter Brock starting out of position number 13, and Alan Grice already making a move down here on the outside as they come up to the first of the right-handers. But it'll be Walkinshaw in first, followed by Armand Hanna. And then slipping up on the inside is Pirro in the BMW, looking for Alan Grice on the inside up to about 4th or 5th at this stage. Look at the gap that the Rovers are starting to put on the BMW 635 as they come through Bastos corner. And they've probably got about 150 metres clear of the BMW, and Grice making a lightning start, already up from 7th to 4th at this stage of the race, and Brocky in touch with the leaders. The rest of the field, there's the gap, Gricey through, running in 3rd place, and he's dislodged the BMW, so Grice is definitely the man on the move in the Spa 24-hour Classic. Ronnie Dixon going through, already up into the top 10, and 26 laps into the race. Problems for Alan Grice. We believe the car has thrown a front wheel off going down the back straight, and Grice is now trying to steer the car back to the pit area, but using the grass verge, otherwise the marshals will stop him. So woes already for Alan Grice. A beautiful start up to 3rd, but still with a lot of work to do in the race.
Prior to him getting there, Peter Brock had arrived with, oh dear, a head gasket gone. This didn't augur well for the Australian chances for outright victory. Nevertheless, they were interested too in the Commander's Cup, the first team home of 3 cars. Grice now struggle in to explain who did what and with which and to whom to Michel Delcourt. The Belgians seem to be taking it quite well.
Motor racing is a sport where being down doesn't necessarily always mean being out. Take, for example, the seat here from Alan Grice's Roadways Commodore. You'll see that the seat is in fact shattered. And that's a problem caused by Grice's co-driver, Belgian Michel Delcourt. The problem is Michel weighs about 5 times that of Alan Grice.
We had one of my co-drivers, paying co-drivers, was a delightful bloke, a Belgian, a good driver, Michel Delcourt, but a big man. And very early in the piece, he broke the seat. And we got him out of the car and got probably me in it. Every time there was something wrong with the car, I'd get back in it. And did our best to hold it together with the hockey straps and ratchets and a box pushed in the back of the seat. And it was quite awful to drive because, you know, your trunk needs to be tethered in the car so that all the extremities can work. On this occasion, the whole thing was a rock and roll show, and for quite a while. And we went to the dealer team. The mechanics went to the dealer team, and because we knew they had a spare seat, they had 2 cars, and asked them could we borrow the seat, and they said no, they might need it. So that was all right. We jammed a box in behind and more hockey straps, and it was pretty ugly. And one of my blokes had noticed that the Bastos, being a big 3-car team and a huge sponsor and Rover and all that sort of stuff, had a show car in a tent with dealers. So, pretending to be Walkinshaw mechanics, a couple of my mechanics went up and actually unbolted the seat out of the Bastos show car, brought it back to our pits, brought us in and replaced our broken seat with the seat out of the Rover factory show car. And that got us back on the case.
Do you know anything about this seat thing? We've got a bit of a story from Alan on it. Do you know, what's your side of that?
Didn't you get one off of the boys, TWR?
Yeah. Do you know how they got it? They nicked it out of the display car, apparently.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Huh?
Yeah, they nicked it.
Yeah. They nicked it, all right.
Yeah.
But
you'd be amazed how much that went on. In 1980, I did 11 Bathursts and I did 11 Spa 24 hours, which is quite ironic that it balances. But in 1980, we were running the RX-7s. They were new then, new to everybody. And Terada-san went off the road and hit the catch fencing, which was there in those days, and seriously damaged his Mazda. Even the chassis rail was in. The worst thing was the suspension. We didn't have everything that we needed. So the boys went, about 6 of them, TWR mechanics, all around the paddock, the car parks, public car parks, found a brand new RX-7, poof, on it. When the guy came back after the race, there was the body shell and all the trim, nothing else, and an engine maybe, but everything, all the running gear was gone, and a note on the dash: please contact Mazda Belgium and you will be reinstated with all your stuff. And of course you can imagine what the poor chap went through. Local bloke, there was his car, his brand new sports car, and basically just a shell on axle stones. Anyway, that's what the sort of thing that used to happen. You just send people out in the car park, find the model you wanted, because they were replicas of the road car. They weren't these hybrid things that you couldn't replace now, in all respects. I mean, can you imagine VTCC or V8s going off to a car park, finding a Holden or a Honda and nicking its kit? There would be no point in it because it wouldn't be the same. But in those days, the basic equipment was the same. Oh, so funny, honestly.
And for some of the other fun of endurance racing, just look behind me. These are the crew members of the mobile dealer team who have been working throughout the night. Good fun, isn't it? Endurance racing. And the reason they're doing it is because associated with the Spa 24-hour race is the traditional King's Cup. And that goes to the manufacturer who fields the biggest number of cars in the top position. Now, Rover cannot win. They started 3, they have 2 running. Volvo started 2, have 1 running. And the Eggenberger Ford started 2 with 1 running. But at the moment, there are 3 Commodores still running.
Well, there were, but Neil Lowe is bringing this car in now, and this is not a scheduled pit stop. He comes in very slowly, and the mechanics are quick to lift the bonnet. They've obviously got a problem with it. And the problem is no oil pressure. Lowe walks disconsolately away from the car, and they're going to push it back to see what they can do about the problem, see if they can fix it. But this could be a problem now for the King's Cup for them. They need 3 Commodores running at the finish. And here are the Commodores again.
Yes, Alan Moffat in car number 5 and Alan Grice in number 27. They're running in pretty close company in the closing stages of this race. Keeping in mind, though, in order for Australians to take the King's Cup, it will require the number 6 Mobile Commodore to come back out on the racetrack. And it has diabolical problems with no oil pressure whatsoever. So Moffat sweeps through, followed by Alan Grice. 2 Commodores still running, and looky here, number 6 has been fired up for 1.5 laps around the circuit. So maybe Neil has the real lowdown on the King's Cup at Spa in 1986.
And then with about an hour to go, it dawned on the dealer team blokes that if their car could finish, they had one car very wounded and it was out for an hour or so, but it would probably do a lap and finish. Brock's car was going okay, and my car was going okay. And if we could get the 3 cars to finish, preferably in a form up, that we'd win the King's. We had a good chance of winning the King's Cup, so they offered one of my mechanics their spare seat with an hour to go, and he respectfully suggested they inserted whatever orifice was most appropriate, and we just finished the race in the factory show car Rover seat. But we did win the King's Cup.
And here's Neil Lowe in car number 6, still limping around the circuit, has no oil pressure whatsoever. I tell you what, if he finds a little uphill section, he might be in for a spot of bother. But Lowe continues trying to get to the line, just staying off the course, not through the fast part of the racetrack, of course, to give everyone else a fair go behind him. But Lowe is limping around trying to make the finish and put a little polish on that King's Cup. Meantime, Alan Moffat in car number 5, and of course Alan Grice in 27. They're running bumper to bumper in the final lap of this race. Well, I'll tell you what, if Neil Lowe can manage to just get around and park perhaps even at the top out of La Source and sit there, and here he comes now. Car number 6, Neil Lowe, almost in angel gear, coming up to this tight right-hander. And we'll see if he pulls it across, because it's a downhill run here to the finish, as you can see, yes. And he's going to sit there and wait until the leader goes across, takes the checkered flag, and then just drop it out of gear. Moffat will look for him as they come through the turn, knows he's sitting there. Grice now does too. So all it requires is Lowe just to drop the clutch in and let it go all the way down to the flag. 24-hour Classic is over, and it goes to BMW with Tassar and Dieter Quester the winners.
Yes, you can see Quester jumping up and down there by the side of the track as Tassar goes through. 1st to 5th positions there for the BMWs, and here come the Commodores.
Alan Moffat on the inside, separated here by Siggy Muller, but they'll try and close up and let Neil Lowe now sprint. There's Lowe off to the right. They form it up, and here they come, and getting a marvellous reception from this huge crowd at Spa-Francorchamps. The King's Cup trophy is definitely going to go to the Aussies. They go across the line.
And the Aussies have managed one thing that over 20 cars have failed to do. They've all finished. They might all be outside of the top 15, but they have won the King's Cup. And there's the presentation for the winners: Thierry Tassar, Dieter Quester and Alfred Hagar. And there on the presentation podium, Alan Grice, Alan Moffat with the champagne, Michel Delcourt standing alongside, and John Harvey, Peter Brock, the whole team up there. Moffat gets presented with the cup and holds it aloft to the applause.
Alan, a pretty tough race for you?
Oh, it was tough for the drivers, but 24 hours is a mechanics race, I think. The drivers really, I think their job is to not bang the car, and it's the mechanics to keep them going. It's a mechanics race, I think. And every member of each of the crews did an excellent job. We had everything between us. We had everything that's possible to go wrong. And they got them running again.
And we've got a bunch of Australians here. I'll remind you, gentlemen, there's only a few weeks to go to James Hardie 1000. But that'll seem a breeze after 24 hours.